Eric here on the Defiance. Today I'm going to show you the proper way to connect, engage, and operate the kicker motor on the back of this engine on this boat. Now, if you're not familiar, a kicker motor is a smaller motor that is there designed to use less fuel, to be quieter, to move you slower. It's kind of like having a trolling motor, if you will, on a boat versus having to use this big engine just to put around when you're fishing, etc. So, first things first, this control here, this is just for your main engine. This assembly right here, this is your entire kicker assembly. Your ignition keys that you have here, one thing's first, always make sure this is nice and pushed in. We've had issues with that on this boat. Make sure that kill switch is in gear, or engaged. This is your ignition switch for the main part, and this is your one for the kicker motor here. Now, a couple things about this. You do have a kill lanyard, just the same as you would on a lot of different boats. Make sure that's engaged. You have your normal engagement, your little push button here to go forward, into gear, neutral, reverse, and you have a trim motor here as well. This is your throttle right here, by the way. So when you're starting it for the first time, when you get a little bit of throttle to get it running, that is your throttle. Versus on the main engine, to do a throttle, you push this button in and then go forward, and what that does is engage the throttle, but not the gears. All boats will have some way to disengage the gear system so you can rev it up without engaging the actual lower drive unit. So keep that in mind. Now, first things first, to engage these motors, you can see at this point the main engine is down and the kicker is up. You cannot disconnect, or you cannot connect or nor disconnect these engines unless they are both in the same lowered position. If they are connected, you cannot lower one while one is up, raise one while one is down, etc. You need to make sure the engines are both in the down position before you engage them, and before you raise either engine, you need to disengage the connecting rod, which I'll show you here in a second. Disengage that rod before you lower them. So, to lower here the kicker motor, this down button right here, push it down. See, the engine is all the way down. Now that engine is loose. It'll flap just around. It has no control of the steering wheel until you connect it. Now the connecting rod is here on the starboard side, underneath the two seats. This is it here. Metal rod with the connector on both sides. You'll see this is a snap style connector. As you pull it down, it releases a place where the ball can go into. There's a ball on both engines, which I'm going to show you now. So as you walk out to the engine, you see these connection points here. This ball right here, this ball on the kicker. We will take it. It might be a little difficult with one hand, but let's see what we can do. I pull that back, get it over the ball, slot it in place. Same thing here. Now you'll have to manually move this kicker around a little bit. It's loose, it's easy to push around. Little resistance from the cables, but I'll use my leg here to push those a little bit, see if I can get it over in place. There it is. Pull that ball back, get it on. Boom. Right now, both engines are engaged. And what this does is now, as the main engine is attached to the steering wheel, when you turn the main engine, it will rotate the kicker engine. Now, you will never have the main engine running when you have the kicker engine, but they will both be connected and both turning in the water while you have the kicker going. Now, to get the kicker running, first things first, they don't get used nearly as much as the main engine. You're going to prime it. The primer ball is down here on the back of the port side. You're just going to pump this ball. You might feel a little fluid shoot through it, and eventually you can get right here, like right about now, it's getting nice and tight. Now it's pretty tight right there. I'm not able to push any more fluid into it. Now you have fuel pushed all the way into the engine. Then you would come back in here, get your keys. You can get a little throttle if you want. You turn the key on here, turn the engine here. Might take a couple times to get going. That engine will fire up, and then you'll be all ready to go. And when you're using that kicker, as I mentioned, you'll use just this throttle control right here. When you're ready to get going again at the main engine, disconnect those rods, raise the kicker motor to store it, and you're back to using just the main engine. There she is running, and as you'll see, as I come to the helm here, I'll turn the main wheel. Both those engines will turn together. My throttle here. Then my engagement as well. Then when you're ready to shut her off, just turn the key like you would the regular engine. And that's it. This is pretty much the universal approach you'll have for any boat with a kicker engine setup.